Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for another edition of our Player Prop Research Show, which day by day is turning more and more into sort of a sports talk show with a little bit of props sprinkled in. At least that's the goal toward the future. I think I want to turn this more into a discussion about what's happening in the sports world, what's happening in sports culture, and we'll sprinkle in some player props on top of that. I think that's the direction I want to go in the future. But appreciate everybody being here this morning. Appreciate Mr. Ruiz, David. We've got SM in the building, Ronald's Green, T-Bones up in here. Drew Brees is here. Chris Smith. I see AOD has made an appearance. Everyday Fantasy's in the building. Roy's here. Shout out to all you guys. Ricky Carroll's up in the building, man. Ja or J.A. He's here as well. So yeah, shout out to all you guys. I appreciate you. Last night, kind of crazy. Are we tired of the NBA playoffs yet? Are we tired of betting on what may or may not happen night in and night out on these NBA playoff games? It's been kind of crazy, right? It's been kind of hectic so far. I know a lot of people in the sports betting community, they don't really bet the NBA playoffs like that. Once the regular season ends, a lot of people, they scale back or they don't bet on NBA props at all. So I don't know, man. I've been trying to take it a little bit more light on NBA stuff. You know, I see T-Bone saying, very tired. It's all about the MLB now. Okay. Well, we've been doing some work. We've hit, 3 days in a row. We've hit a 4 out of 5. We're waiting on that big 5 out of 5 in the Patreon community. I feel that 10X knocking at the door, so maybe it'll happen today. But yeah, going back to last night, we had to say goodbye. We had to say goodbye to the process. Joel Embiid, James Harden and company eliminated last night. Was anyone surprised at the outcome? Did we think that it would maybe go another type of way? And I mentioned in yesterday's show, we talked about Joel Embiid. I was like, listen, he's a star. He's a stud. I don't see him going down, shooting 13 or 15 times like he did in games 1, 2, and 3 that he played in against Miami. And he didn't. He actually shot the ball 24 times. The only bad news is that he had a terrible field goal percentage last night. Joel Embiid was not making buckets, but the volume was absolutely turned up for Embiid. I feel bad for Embiid as well. He just can't seem to find that number 2 complementary piece or option. Hell, I mean, even in the post-game press conference, Joel Embiid was nothing but classy, I guess we'll say, when speaking of James Harden. He said, hey, we didn't expect James Harden from the Houston Rockets when we traded for him. We expected James Harden, the playmaker. We didn't bring him in to score 30 plus points. We brought him in to make plays. But pretty disappointing if you're a James Harden fan or if you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan. I mean, James Harden in the second half of that game went ghost. He folded. He crumbled like a dollar store potato chip, guys. Kind of like we said he would. Kind of like we've seen him do in the past, even when he was in his prime in Houston, right? He crumbled under the pressure. James Harden just doesn't show up for big moments. And that's probably going to be a defining moment of his legacy, of his career. Just a guy who doesn't show up when the bright lights are on, right? He's a great regular season player, but when it comes playoff time, when it comes time to win big games, James Harden disappears, and we saw it again last night, especially in the second half of that game. James Harden, was just another one of the boys. I mean, he might as well have been a bench player for Philadelphia at that point. But yeah, goodbye to Joel Embiid. Goodbye to James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers. It's a real shame. Harden's already saying, hey, I'm going to be back next year. So we'll have to see if he comes back with a reformulated game. Maybe he comes back and he reimagines himself as a basketball player, because whatever he was trying to do ain't working no more. He's gassed. He's washed. Whatever you want to call him. James Harden is not the guy that we had seen in previous years. You know, Houston, even at the start of his Brooklyn Nets stint, different player. He's going to have to figure it out. But anyway, the other game from last night, the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks. Phoenix came into Dallas looking to put their foot on the throat of Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. And Dallas said, we ain't ready to go home yet. Luka Doncic said, we're not done. We're not finished. We're not through. And Luka stepped up, man. And he did what I thought he would do. That's why I felt hesitant on taking unders on guys who were in a win or go home type of situation, like Luka Doncic, like Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid, you took the under on him, it probably paid off. But Luka Doncic was the one I was really, really hesitant. And you could see why. Luka turned up. It looked like game 1, game 2 Luka, instead of the game 3, 4, 5 Luka. Luka showed up and played very, very well. Luka, very special player. So shout out to Luka. This game's going to go back to Phoenix. We're going to get another game from this series. Tonight, we've got a couple of teams who are also on the ropes. Their backs are against the wall. I'm talking about Boston, and I'm talking about Memphis. Now, Boston, they got a fighting chance. I think they've got as good a chance as anyone to survive tonight. This game has a 210.5 total, just a 1.5 point spread. Vegas thinks this game is going to be a slobber knocker. They think this game's going to stay close, be competitive. Of course, Milwaukee's been playing without Chris Middleton. Keep an eye on the Boston side of things. Robert, the Time Lord Williams, he missed the last couple of games. I don't know if he's going to be in or out tonight. But stay on top of the Boston Celtics injury news. Anyway, this game looks like it's going to be another fun one. That series has been a pretty competitive, fun series to watch. Now, this next one kind of caught some people by surprise last time these two teams played. Memphis, I thought they were ready to go home. No Ja Morant, right? No hope. But no, not so fast. The other guys for the Memphis Grizzlies stepped up in a big way in Memphis. Desmond Bane had himself a nice little game. Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, these guys stepped up. So shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies for showing some resolve, for showing some resilience, even though the deck is stacked against them, so to speak, right? Not having your best player, Ja Morant, not fun. But they found a way to get it done. I kind of feel like tonight's the night where Golden State locks in. They're playing in Golden State, and they finally put the Memphis Grizzlies to rest. I said it last game, it didn't happen, but tonight I kind of really do feel like this is the night for Golden State to go ahead and put the Grizzlies away. 218 points between these two teams. That's the implied point total. It's an 8-point spread. It's favoring the Dubs in this case. So the Dubs are favored by 8 points. I kind of think tonight's the night we say goodbye to Memphis. Gary Payton II, Otto Porter Jr. are both game time decisions. Iguodala, Wiseman are both out. Obviously, Ja Morant's out. Aldama and Tilly are also out for Memphis. So that's kind of the rundown, the breakdown for that game. What are we thinking, gang? Curry and the boys, are they going to put the Memphis Grizzlies away tonight? Or is there any way in the world that the Memphis Grizzlies bounce back? Do you think they do? I kind of think it's over for Memphis. Playing in Golden State, not looking hopeful. Anyway, shout out to those of you who are just now getting here. Yeah, Max Strus played very well. Let's check out the comments real quick and see what you guys are talking about. Mr. Ruiz says, welcome to the CJ Show. Hit the like button and let's make some weekend money. Well, it's a great time for you to hit that like button. That's for sure, Mr. Ruiz. And today's Free Entry Friday, meaning I'll be giving out over a dozen free entries over on PrizePicks. These are 2-pick risk-free entries. If you get both of them right, you win $100. So how do you get your hands on one of these free, risk-free 2-pick power plays? All you have to do is be in Discord. There's a link down in the description of this video for you to join Discord. Jump into the Discord. You'll get pinged once the giveaway goes live, and then you'll have an opportunity to get your hands on one of those free, risk-free 2-pick power plays to win yourself $100 over on PrizePicks. So make sure you're in the Discord. Doesn't cost anything to be in there. Now, if you're a Patreon member, your chances of winning one of these free entries go up drastically. I'm giving away 10 2-pick power plays to win $100 on PrizePicks to Patreon members. And I'm giving away 3 to anybody else who's inside of Discord. So you guys will have plenty of opportunities to get your hands on one of those risk-free 2-pick power plays over on PrizePicks. Just jump in the Discord. Like I said, link down in the description below if you're not already in there. David, what's up to you? Essam's in the building. He says, blowouts have been screwing me over. New day, let's bounce back. Ronald's Green, what's up to you? T-Bone says, today, Flip-Flop Friday. Yes, you finally got it right. It's finally Friday. Let's get these 5 picks cashed and cash again. Gang, gang. Let's go, Chef and Patreon. Smash that like button. You know. Thanks, T-Bone, for the shout out. Appreciate you being a member of the Patreon community as well. Drew Bree says, good morning, Patreon gang. Let's get this bread today. Don't forget about happy hour. That's right. You flex, and I'm going to flex back. Happy hour's going on over on PrizePicks. 1 p.m. Eastern time is typically when the happy hour starts. What does happy hour mean? Well, that means that they've lowered the minimums from $5 down to $1. So you could put $1 in play and win up to 10 times your money, whether that be a 4-pick power play, a 5-pick flex. If you get them all right, you turned $1 into 10. Not a bad way to go. It's a great time for you to experiment maybe with some other sports. Take a shot on something like MLB, maybe some CSGO. We've got MMA this weekend. Some soccer's always going down. NHL playoffs are underway. So a lot of different ways for you to play on PrizePicks. But being that it's just $1 to make $10, I mean, that's a pretty good return on your money, right? So definitely check out happy hour once that goes live. It is Friday the 13th, as Chris Smith has pointed out. Hopefully that doesn't mean we're going to have a bad day today, Friday the 13th. Let's make it a good day, all right? Let's say screw Friday the 13th and make it a winning Friday instead. Everyday Fantasy says, happy Friday the 13th. Let's all kill the cash today. Big ups to the Chef and Patreon. I like that, man. I like that. AOD says, put some respect on Luka Doncic. Devin Booker, you're soft. Yeah, Devin Booker was bad last night. He was definitely bad. Ricky Carroll says, Strus got me again, and esports saved me. Yeah, I'm going to back off of Strus. All right, I thought, hey, he got lucky. He was playing in Miami. You know, maybe he had himself a good game. He's going back to Philadelphia. He ain't going to have it like he had it in Miami. Well, I was wrong. All right, I was wrong. Max Strus has been stepping up lately, so shout out to Max Strus for making me put my own foot in my mouth. Anyway. Hustle Runner says, yo, what it do? What it do, brother? What's up, Kush Ivory? Is the chat frozen or is no one talking? No, I think the chat's working just fine, Mr. Moody Clips. All right, guys, let's get down to business. If you've been joining me for the last few days, you know we've been playing this little game here. It's called Purdle. It's based on the famous, popular word game called Wordle. So what we're going to do is guess the mystery player. We get 8 guesses. We could try any current NBA player. Yesterday we got it right, and I think 3 guesses. It ended up being Avery Bradley. So, I mean, it could be any active NBA player. A green in any column means we have an exact match. Yellow in the team column indicates that the mystery player at one point or another played for this team but does not currently play for this team. Yellow in the position column indicates a partial match. For example, if you see F-C, forward or center, and it's yellow, that means this guy could be either a forward or a center. So yellow in any other column indicates that the attribute is within 2. That could be within 2 inches in the height, within 2 years in age, within 2 numbers in the jersey number. of the mystery player. And then if you get stuck, they have something called a silhouette mode. We'll save that to the very end if we get absolutely stuck. It's kind of like a lifeline. We'll use the silhouette if we must, but we're going to avoid it at all costs. All right, let's start this thing off. Let's go with just a first guess. We'll go Jaylen Brown since he happens to be playing tonight. And based on that first guess, we've got a couple of little hits here. We know that this player is playing in the Eastern Conference, but is not in the Atlantic Division. This player could be a guard. It could be a forward. We know this player is taller than 6'6", but is younger than 25 years old. And the jersey number is going to be a number greater than 7. So we know it's not a player from the Atlantic Division. So that means it is not a Celtic. It is not a 76er, a Raptor, a Net, or a Knick. So we don't have to worry about them. It's going to be somebody from either the Central or Southeast Division. All right. So that could be the Bucks, Bulls, Cavs, Pacers, Pistons, or the Heat, Hawks, Hornets, Wizards, or my Orlando Magic. So Eastern Conference player, guard or forward, taller than 6'6", younger than 25. So Jimmy Butler, it would not be Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's definitely older than 25. And then the jersey number is going to be above number 7. So we're talking about a fairly young player here, right? From the Eastern Conference. On one of these 10 teams here. Fairly young guy. Jersey number over number 7. Franz Wagner? Wagner, huh? Well, let's see. Ooh, okay. Hey, that was a hell of a guess. Here's what we do know now. This player is absolutely playing for my Orlando Magic in the East, in the Southeast, obviously. Is a forward who is taller than 6'10", who is older than 20 years old, whose jersey number is below 22. Listen, I think I know who it is. I think it might be this guy. I could be wrong. I'm going to go with Jonathan Isaac. Oh, my God. Come on. It's not Jonathan Isaac? Are you kidding me? Partial match on the forward. So this guy could be a forward or a center. He's taller than 6'10". Is it Mo Bamba? Right. I'm thinking Wendell Carter Jr., potentially Mo Bamba. Let's just for fun look at the silhouette. Let's just take a peek at it. Oh, come on now. Who's that look like to you? That looks like a braided up Mo Bamba to me. Y'all think that looks more like a braided up Mo Bamba or Wendell Carter Jr.? I think that's Mo. I think you might be right. And I almost went Mo. Let's look at it. If this ain't Mo Bamba, I don't know. I'll be baffled. It's not Mo Bamba. Are you for real? So we're getting a partial match on the forward center. Huh. And it ain't Mo Bamba, but this player is taller than 7 feet. Oh, snap. You know who it is? You know who it is? Y'all probably forgot about this. This guy just got traded to Orlando. Just got traded to Orlando, has not played a game yet for Orlando. He's a center, taller than 7 feet. He's younger than 24, and I think his jersey number is above number 5. Money picks, I think you know who I'm talking about. I think it might be this dude. I think it might be Bol Bol. Boom. Ha ha. Well, hey, they made it interesting today, didn't they? Good guess with the Franz Wagner, though. If it wasn't for the Franz Wagner guess, we wouldn't have went down this rabbit hole on the Orlando Magic. But Bol Bol, man, boy, they dug deep on the Orlando Magic bench. They dug deep on the Orlando Magic bench. Andrew, what it was indicating was that Isaac and Bamba, their jersey number or their age was below 24. Not the jersey number. That was their age below 24. But yep, it was Bobo. Damn. Well, I feel like we could have got that a little bit closer, but yo, we were on it, right? We were on it pretty good. I thought we were there with Jonathan Isaac. But nah. Bobo. They list him as a center/forward. I mean, I guess he's 7'2". I think he's more of a center, but okay. I guess that's what was throwing me off was the partial match with the forward with the center. I think of Bobo as a true center, but anyway, we ended up getting it right. Took us a total of 5 guesses, so not quite as good as yesterday. But I'll tell you this: since we started playing Purdle, it has not taken us more than 5 guesses on any of the Purdles so far. So shout out to you guys. 3 has been the fewest guesses. 5 has been the most since we started playing Purdle. So we'll keep trying next time we do the live stream. But anyway, let's get into some player props. What are you guys wanting to talk about today? Obviously, we got some points props. Let's start things off with Boston, Milwaukee. We could take a look at sort of the hit rates in the playoffs for players from these two teams. We're using props.cash to take a look at some of the trends here. Marcus Smart at 13.5 points. We're getting him at 14.5 on PrizePicks, but at 13.5, 62.5% hit rate. Pat Connaughton, my boy Playoff P, he continues to hit his point prop. And I'm going to keep saying it like I've said it in the past. If this guy continues to get 30 plus minutes per game, he's going to keep hitting his props. So Pat Connaughton should be one that is definitely on our radar today. Bobby Portis at 11.5 points. He's got a 60% hit rate throughout the playoffs. Big Al Horford at 12.5. Al Horford's been doing his thing. Did not have the type of game that we were hoping for in the last one. Maybe he's due for a little bit of a bounce back against Milwaukee tonight. Al Horford, 55.6% hit rate throughout the playoffs. Brook Lopez have not been taking his points prop, just very unpredictable from one game to the next. I don't have a lot of confidence in Lopez. We saw Jason Tatum in the last game have himself a good game with 34 points. The last 2 games for Tatum, he's dropped 30 and 34. Maybe we go back to Jason Tatum tonight. Drew Holiday at 20.5 points, 40% hit rate throughout the playoffs. So Drew's been struggling a little bit. Not very good there. Grayson Allen also sitting at 40%. Jaylen Brown at 23.5. He did have himself a pretty good game the last time we saw him, dropping 26 points, but he's been a little bit difficult to trust. And then, of course, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I talked about him in the last video. I said, listen, if this guy continues to shoot 20, 25, 30 times per game, gets double-digit free throw attempts, we got to keep taking the over on Giannis's points. And we've seen now back-to-back games where Giannis has been very good. 42, 34, and 40 points. Seems like Giannis is starting to finally figure out how to score against this Boston Celtics defense, which is a tough defense. A very tough defense. So I think I want to start with Giannis. He's going to be a very, very popular play tonight, obviously. I mean, when you see the guy continuing to score at the rate that he's been scoring over the last few games, I definitely could see some people flocking to his points prop. We're getting him at 32.5. Now he's 5 for 10 in the playoffs, 50% hit rate. We look at the last 3 games for Giannis, 42, 34, and 40 like we talked about. And let's see what's happening here with his minutes. He's playing more minutes in the last 3 games than he did in the first 2 games of the series. First 2 games, he had 37.8, 37.7, so fewer than 38 minutes in the first couple of games. Since then, about 39 in this one, 41 and 40. So we're starting to see his minutes creep into the 40s here over the last 3 games. Not only that, but the field goal attempts have been skyrocketing for Giannis. 30, 32, and 27 in the last 3 games. His field goal percentages in the last 3 have also went up. So we saw a 36%, 41% in the first 2 games, right? Since then, 53%, 44%, and 59%. Each of the last 3 games marks a higher field goal percentage than either the first 2 games at 36 and 41%. So not only is he shooting a lot more shots recently, but we're seeing those field goal percentages start to climb as well. So I think Giannis has now, it's safe to say, has now maybe figured out the puzzle that is the Boston Celtics defense. It seems like he's starting to figure things out, right? Which is scary. It's a scary thought. Now, Giannis, he's going to take a few threes per game, but we're not expecting him to be a marksman. He's not a great quality three-point shooter. 1, maybe 2 per game if you're lucky is about the most you're going to get out of Antetokounmpo. What I like here is the fact that he's getting double-digit free throw attempts in just about every game. But what I don't like is the fact that his percentages are so poor. We know it's been a struggle for Giannis in the past making free throws, right? Game 1, 55%. Game 2, 56%. Had a great game 3 with 75%. If we could get more of that, we would be satisfied, right? The last couple of games, 55% and 60% for Giannis. So if we could continue to see those double-digit free throw attempts and see those makes climb a little bit, 32.5 points just ain't going to be high enough. I mean, he should be higher. So a little bit more focus, a little bit more time at the free throw line, Giannis. Knock those down for us, baby. And we'd be happy campers. But anyway, let's get your projection on Giannis's points. He's at 37.3 projected points. That's not absurd. That's not crazy. We've seen him drop 40 in the last 3 games twice now, right? 40 plus points in the last 3 games at least twice now. So I don't mind that projection of 37.3. I don't think that's totally off the wall. But at 33.5, looks like the betting public, most of the sites that I'm seeing are taking the under here. DraftKings, BetMGM, but we're also seeing some people take the over on FanDuel, on some of these other smaller sports books. So the public at 33.5 is kind of torn. But the fact that some people feel confident enough to take the over at 33.5, well, I'm going to feel confident taking the over at 32.5. What do you guys say? Over or under on Giannis Antetokounmpo at 32.5? Let me know, chat. How are we feeling on this one? I like to take the temperature of the room, see what you guys are thinking about Giannis tonight. Do you like his chances? Is he going to make it 4 games in a row going over 32.5 points? He has a chance to put the dagger in the heart of the Boston Celtics tonight. Giannis strikes me as the type of guy that wants to go ahead and end this series, and I expect another big game from him tonight. Ricky's liking the over on Giannis. All right. Yeah, I'm not too interested on anybody else from Milwaukee other than this guy, Playoff P, Mr. Pat Connaughton. So let's talk about him real quick. He's been having himself a nice little series. We've talked about this at great length before. As long as Pat Connaughton keeps getting 30 plus minutes per game, he's always going to be in contention for the over at 10.5 points. So Mr. Playoff P, Pat Connaughton, we see what he's done here against Boston in the last 5 games. He is now 4 for 5 in this series, 80% hit rate. Since his minutes have started to climb, right? 25 minutes in game 2 after just 20.7 in game 1. 25, then we see 32, 30, and 31. As long as he's up here around 30, guys, he's going to have a real chance of going for 11 or more points. When the minutes go up, typically the field goal attempts are up as well, and we've seen those field goal attempts since game 1 at 7, 8, and 10. Shoots a pretty good percentage as well. 86, 40, 50, 57. And then the three-point attempts, they're starting to fall off a little bit, but still he's making about 3 per game. So if you don't want to take Connaughton over on points, I think a good alternative to playing Pat Connaughton's points would be his 3-point prop, depending on if it's up on the board and what it's set at. They're not giving us Pat Connaughton threes. All right, maybe we'll get it later in the day. But for now, I think the points are fine at 10.5. So Pat Connaughton, going to be in play for me again today as long as they keep feeding him 30-plus minutes per game. As far as a projection goes, 12.4 projected points. So that's a favorable projection for Connaughton's points today. At 10.5, we are seeing the betting public taking the under on Connaughton. I don't know why that would be. A little curious. He's playing at home, which I think is typically a good thing for a guy like Pat Connaughton. We saw some of the Dallas Mavericks last night shoot a little bit better, being that they were playing on familiar territory, right? Playing in Dallas. So I kind of feel like tonight, Pat Connaughton is going to have himself a pretty decent shooting night, playing in Milwaukee where he feels most comfy. So I don't mind Pat Connaughton over 10.5 points. I don't mind Giannis over 32.5 points. Do I trust any of these other guys? Not really. Don't really trust Grayson Allen, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, or Drew Holiday a whole lot. You guys taking Pat Connaughton over on points? Yay or nay? What say you? Let me know in the chat. Dan saying taking the over. Is that over on Giannis? Hustle Runner says I'm taking Giannis, but I'm going to take the free throws. I'm going to take the over on the free throws for Giannis. Okay. All right. Alex Johnson says at home he's going over. Dan, you're saying no. You don't want to take the over on Pat Connaughton? Okay. What about the Boston Celtics? Jason Tatum, 28.5. We could go there. Jaylen Brown, we could go there. Do I trust these guys a ton? I don't know. They're playing in Milwaukee, man. So there's that. Al Horford had a good couple of games. Things cooled off for Big Al in the last game. Is there any points props from the C's that you guys are really feeling? Listen, I don't want to hear this guy's name anymore or ever again. Even if he comes out and scores 30 points tonight. Grant Williams, please don't mention Grant Williams anymore. I hope that you guys are finally off of the Grant Williams bandwagon. For whatever reason, last couple of games, last couple of streams I was doing on here, you guys would jump on here and hype Grant Williams up for PRA. Don't hype this guy up anymore, okay? As these games become more and more pivotal and more important, guys like Grant Williams are going to get choked out. Meaning, it's going to be Jason Tatum. It's going to be Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. Grant Williams is going to be left with nothing but crumbs, with scraps, okay? Don't mention Grant Williams to me. I don't care if he has the best game of his life tonight. We ain't talking about Grant Williams no more. He's dead to me. You Grant Williams fanboys, leave this guy alone. Let somebody else chase Grant Williams, PRA, points, whatever it is you're wanting to take. I'm not touching him. You guys do what you want to do. You guys are saying there's some love here for Al Horford. Let's talk about Big Al. He's at 12.5 points, had himself a couple of good games in this series so far, but, you know, it's 12.5 now. 12.5 points here. Al Horford has hit this in 2 games now out of 5. 2 for 5. So, are we still chasing ghosts with Al Horford's point prop? What I mean by that is, we look back Game 3 and we see 22 points. We look back at Game 4. We see 30 points. Are we still chasing that? Or is Game 5 a sign of things to come? Have they figured out the puzzle? That is Al Horford. Let's go down here and take a look and see what's going on with Big Al. Why did he not hit his points prop in the last game after having 2 fantastic games in games 3 and 4? Game 5 wasn't good. He played plenty of minutes, was out there for nearly 41 minutes, so it wasn't due to a lack of playing time. Well, here's a big reason why he didn't hit his points prop. The guy only shot the ball 7 times. He was 4 for 7 on the shots he did take. Listen, that's about half of the shots that he had in games 3 and games 4. His shots were cut in half in game 5. So he was not shooting the ball quite as much. Now, it's no coincidence that we saw both Jaylen Brown hit his points prop and Jason Tatum hit his points prop, right? So the 2 lead dogs here, Batman, Robin, had good game scoring. And we'll call this man Alfred, sticking with the Batman theme. You know, he's the old vet on the team, the old guy on the team. Alfred, Al Horford. It almost sounds like Alfred, right? Al Horford, Alfred. So we got Batman, we got Robin, and we got Alfred right here. Alfred, he saw his field goal attempts drop all the way down to 7. He was 4 for 7. So it seems like these guys, you know, the Cape Crusader here, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they hogged all the shots from Al Horford. Al Horford was out there for 41 minutes. Took way fewer shots. Even his 3-point attempts were way down. I mean, he only shot 2 threes. The previous games, he had 9, 5, 7, and 7. So we saw Al Horford just take 2 threes after lighting it up from beyond the arc in previous games. So, I don't know, gang. Do you think Tatum and Brown ball hog again? If you do, then you might want to take the under on Al Horford or just fade his point prop altogether, because it didn't look good last game. He didn't shoot the ball nearly as much despite being out there running around for nearly 41 minutes. He's projected for 13.3 points tonight. It looks like folks are thinking it's going to be a Tatum and Brown dynamic duo once again tonight, because they're taking the under. They're betting the under on these sports books at 12.5 points. So they're not showing a lot of confidence or faith in Alfred, or as you guys like to call him, Al Horford, Big Al. Who are you liking more tonight? Let's ask that. Batman or Robin? Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? If you had to pick an over on one of these two guys, would it be Tatum at 28.5? We've seen him now clear this in back-to-back games, 30 and 34. Series is returning to Milwaukee tonight. Jaylen Brown at 23.5. He's cleared this in a handful of games in this series as well, 3 for 5. Roy's saying he's trusting Tatum. Ricky's also trusting Tatum a little bit more. All right, let's talk about Tatum then. Let's look into Jason Tatum and see why he's been successful over the last couple of games. What's changed for Jason Tatum? Because we look back across this series at 28.5 points. The first 3 games, he had only covered this one time. But now in the last 2 games, one game at Milwaukee, one game in Boston, which was the last game, he has now covered this in 3 of 5. So that's not terrible. 3 out of 5. Let's go down here and take a look at his minutes. His minutes throughout the series have been right there around 40 to 42 minutes per game. So through 5 games, he's playing plenty of minutes. Not really worried about that. 41.4 minutes against Milwaukee. Now his field goal attempts, we have started to see those skyrocket over the last couple of games. After shooting 18, 20, and 19 through the first 3 games, last couple of games here, 24 and 29. Now I'll point something out to you. The games that he's hit his points props, games 2, 4, and 5, he has shot the ball 20, 24, and 29 times. So if he's going to get 20 or more field goal attempts, it would seem to me that he would have a real shot at going over 28.5 points. He has now hit the over in every game in which he shot at least 20 times. In those same games, we've seen his 3-point attempts at 10, 10, and 11. So we'd like to see him in the double-digit 3-point field goal attempts category as well. Free throw attempts have kind of been all over the place for him, but it was positive, a good thing that he got to the line 9 times, which is a series high for him, and knocked down 8 free throws, which was also a series high for him. So if he's going to be getting to the free throw line, the more the merrier, right? So we need him to keep shooting 20 plus times per game. We need him to keep shooting 10 or more threes per game and just pile on the free throws as much as possible, right? That is the path to the over for Jason Tatum. That is the secret sauce to success for Jason Tatum tonight. At 28.5 points, he's projected for 32.1. We're seeing him at 29.5. On pretty much every sports book out there. At 29.5, though, the betting public taking the under. They don't think he's going to score 30 tonight. They think he stays under 30 tonight. But that's all right. If he lands on 29 and you decide to take the over at 28.5, you're doing pretty good. You're doing good for yourself. Looks like a lot of you guys trust Jason Tatum more than Jaylen Brown. So we won't really spend any time talking about Jaylen Brown. Kevin says, Coach said they like Derek White out there over Grant Williams. They need his offense. They don't care about Grant's defense on Giannis, and that's why they're going to lose the series. Well, you know, there's really no stopping Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's only slowing him down, and they have not been able to slow him down over the last 3 games. So I'm probably going to go back to the Greek Freak. And while I'm watching Giannis rack up 33 points tonight, I'm going to be sipping on the Chick-fil-A Giannis special, which is half lemonade, half Sprite. Boom. Let's go, Giannis. I'm a big Giannis fan. If we could ever get him in Orlando, whew. You know, our GM, our front office, we're the guys that drafted Giannis to Milwaukee. I'm just saying, there's a path there for Giannis to find his way to Orlando. Maybe he wants to reunite with the guys who took a chance on him as a young, scrawny kid from Greece. All right? Hey, let me live, all right? Let me dream. It's a pipe dream, but let me dream. All right, what about this late night game? Any points, props that you guys are liking? We saw Steph Curry come crashing back down to earth in the last game, but that's all right. That will not dissuade me from going right back to Chef Steph Curry at 27.5 points. I don't mind going back to him. I could see him having a good game tonight. We got Klay Thompson out there at 20.5. We got Jordan Poole sitting out there at 19.5. I mean, it's always a good day for a pool party. Last couple of games, though, have been bad for Jordan Poole. Maybe you guys are looking to back off. Maybe you guys are not going back to Jordan Poole. Is the pool closed? Maybe the pool's closed. We don't want to go to the pool tonight. But I like Curry, man. Curry, 27.5 points after just a 14-point game. Man, I hope he comes back out running and gunning. I think Curry could be a good look. Jaren Jackson Jr. is being mentioned as an over by Roy. Roy, you're liking some Triple J over 17.5 points. Last couple of games, he's been doing his thing. 21, 21. Even back here on May 1st, he had 33. So he's hit the over on 17.5 points now in 3 out of 5 games. What about this guy? Low-key Steven Adams. Last couple of games at 6.5 points, 10 and 7. You don't think of him as a scorer, but he's been playing some pretty good minutes for Golden State in the last couple of games and has hit his points prop now in both of those games. But for you, Roy, let's take a look at Triple J at 17.5 points. Maybe he's the best of the bunch. I mean, we saw guys like Desmond Bane finally kind of wake up. He popped off a little bit. Shout out to Desmond Bane. Taking a look at Triple J here at 17.5. We just talked about it. 3 out of the last 5 games, he has hit the over. We've seen him go for a high of 33, a low of 12. And he's had some games that were overs that were like right in between at 21 points in each of his last 2 games. Scrolling down here, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s minutes have kind of been all over the place, right? 30.8 minutes, he hits the over on his point prop. 33.9 minutes, he hits the over on his point prop. So 2 games where he's played 30 plus minutes, he's hit his points. But then in the last game at 25.2 minutes played, he still hit the over on his points prop. So, I mean, he's shown an ability to get it done in just 25 minutes. He doesn't necessarily need 30 plus minutes to hit the over. It would be nice if he played 30 minutes, but he doesn't necessarily have to have 30 minutes. Taking a look at some of his field goal attempts. I mean, he was 6 for 10 in his last game. 10 field goal attempts, which was a low for him. Still hit the over on his points at 17.5. A lot of that had to do with his 3-point takes and makes. He was 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. He's attempting, somewhere between 6 and 9 3-pointers per game, averaging 7.4 threes. So if he could get a few of those threes to fall, he'll be in good shape. Also for him, a key ingredient to him hitting the over on his points prop has very clearly been getting to the free throw line. So game 1 when he hit, 7 for 9 from the free throw line. Games 4 and 5, 7 for 8, 5 for 6. So we need him getting to the free throw line. That's probably going to be the make or break for Jaren Jackson Jr.'s points at 17.5. So if you think he gets to the free throw line again tonight, hammer the over. He's projecting for 19.2 points. It looks like the betting public is also liking the over on this prop. Minus 125 and minus 130. So maybe take a little stab here on Triple J at 17.5. What about Anyone else from this game? Are we wanting to go Curry? Clay? Talked about Poole. Poole's kind of been bad the last couple of games. Maybe the pool's closed. Anyone else from this game that you guys are liking? Highest PRA? I mean, we'll get to PRA in just a minute, but before we move on from points, I just want to make sure. Final call. Any other points props you guys are liking, let me know now and we'll look at them. Wiggins, huh? At 15.5? I mean, he had been hitting in every game up until the last one. When they got the break speed off of him by Memphis, he only scored 5. So maybe we go Andrew Wiggins. Let's look at him. 15.5 points for Mr. Wiggins here. Had hit this in 4 straight games to start this series. 17, 16, 17, and 17 before coming back down to earth. A lot of these Golden State Warriors guys had a bad game, game 5, right? So what happened with Andrew Wiggins? Well, he only played 19.4 minutes. That's going to have a lot to do with it. If you're not out on the court, you can't take shots. And if you can't take shots, well, you can't make shots. So Andrew Wiggins undoubtedly was affected and impacted by the fact that he only played 19.4 minutes in that last game. His field goal attempts, he shot just 6 times, which was about half as many attempts as we saw him take in any of the previous games. And on those 6 attempts, my guy was just 2 for 6, 33% hit rate. 3-point attempts, those were down as well. Just 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. Did not get to the free throw line for a single free throw. So if we could get his minutes back up to where they have been in previous games, 34, 38, 39, hell, I'd even take 25. He's hit the over on his points prop in just 25 minutes in previous games. Then I'd say, yeah, this could be a go back spot for Andrew Wiggins at 15.5 points. You know, the old saying, after a flop, we go back to the prop. 17.7, that's his projection tonight. 15.5 points. He's being bet over. The public likes Andrew Wiggins to bounce back. To bounce back. So there you go. All right. Miss Danica has requested we look at Klay Thompson at 20.5 points. So for you, we will. Klay, he is at 21.5 according to props.cash. We're getting him at 20.5 on PrizePicks. I'm assuming, Miss Danica, that you're wanting to go under on Klay Thompson at 20.5 points. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm looking at the game logs from this series and I'm seeing 15 in game 1, just 12 in game 2. Had himself a decent little game in game 3, but 21 points. He barely limped over 20.5 points. It's not like he blew it out of the water or anything. 14 and 19 in the next 2 games. Klay Thompson was about the only one who was scoring well in that blowout game we saw in game 5. But overall, just a 1 for 5 hit rate. So she's saying under. And I couldn't agree more. He's averaging just 16.2 points per game versus Memphis in this series. Averaging 16.2. My man needs 21. But I don't think he'll get 21. They got him projected for 25.7. I think that's too damn high. I don't think he gets 25.7 points. If his prop line was at 25.5 points, I'd be hammering the under, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. At 21.5 out on your sports books, they're betting the under, minus 120, minus 116. Slight betting favorite to go under 21.5, but we are getting him at a lower number at 20.5. But gun to head, you're making me choose an over or under. I mean, based on what I've seen through 5 games, I would have to say I'm going under on Klay Thompson at 20.5 points. Don't be afraid to take unders. So let's move on from points. We've got a lot of other props to talk about, including assists. We've talked about these pretty extensively in the past. Jason Tatum, he's probably the highest in potential assists on his team. Last time I checked, he was. Same thing for Giannis. He was leading the Milwaukee Bucks in potential assists. So those guys were always going to be in the mix for me in terms of potential assist plays. We could pull it up and get you the latest numbers as long as you have time. I've got time if you've got time. So let's take a look at Mr. Jason Tatum first and foremost. So the way that you use this, you go to NBA.com. They've got this NBA Advanced Stats category. This is player tracking for passing. So we're looking at potential assists. So we're going to go Boston Celtics. And then we're going to go against the Milwaukee Bucks for opponent. We already have the playoff filter turned on. And then we just click run it. And now that we've ran that, we could see that Jason Tatum very clearly at 11.4 potential assists per game through 5 games played is leading the Boston Celtics in potential assists. So what does that mean exactly? That means on average, Jason Tatum's going to have over 11 opportunities to record an assist. Now his prop is at 5.5 today, meaning he is going to have to convert on at least 6 of those 11 potential assists in order for him to hit the over. So he's got to go 6 for 11, basically. Now the guy that's right behind him in potential assists is Marcus Smart, who's sitting at 10.3 potentials per game in 4 games played against the Milwaukee Bucks in this series. Of course, he missed game 2. So he's only played 4 games. Some of these other guys have played 5, but Marcus Smart sitting at 10.3 potential assists, meaning he's going to have to convert on at least 7 out of 10, which seems kind of tough to do for him to hit the over at 6. So maybe we take the under on Marcus Smart at 6 assists, because 7 for 10, not impossible, but definitely more difficult for him to go 7 out of 10 on his potential assists. So maybe Jason Tatum for an over, maybe Marcus Smart for an under. Some of these other guys out here, their potential assists, Horford's right around 7. He would need to go 4 for 7 to hit the over on 3.5. That's kind of asking a lot. Jaylen Brown, about 6 potential assists. He's got to go 4 for 6, actually 5 for 6. 5 for 6 to hit the over on 4. So maybe you lean toward the under on Jaylen Brown unless you think he goes 5 out of 6 on his potential assists tonight. So for me, I guess I'd lean under on Brown, lean under on Smart. Maybe they tie, maybe they push. Possibly taking a shot on the over on Jason Tatum at 5.5. Wouldn't touch Al Horford. That's going to be a fade for me. So that's kind of how I see things potentially going according to the potential assists. So now that we know that, let's take a look at some of these guys real quick and their hit rates. We mentioned Jason Tatum as a potential overplay at 5.5. Let's see what he's done throughout the playoffs. His potential assists undoubtedly are there. Well, what's holding him back is the fact that when he passes to a teammate, they just aren't hitting their shots. Now, he did well in potential assists in games 1 and 2, or did well in actual assists in games 1 and 2, had 6 and 8 respectively, but since then it's been struggle. Right? 3, 5, and 4. So I can understand you not wanting to take Jason Tatum. Probably going to be a fade for me, being that he hasn't hit this in 3 straight games. I would just leave Jason Tatum alone. But if you're wanting to take a gamble, if you're wanting to roll the dice on Jason Tatum, his projection is at 5.5, which is exactly where his prop line is today. So that doesn't really help us out much. But the public is taking the under on Jason Tatum. I'm just going to fade it. It's not looking great. Then we got Brown that we talked about maybe for an under. Marcus Smart maybe that we talked about for an under. Let's take a look at both of these guys real quick. Smart would basically have to go 7 out of 9. 7 out of 9 on his potential assists, which is, again, kind of asking a lot, right? We bump him up to 6. That's where he's at on PrizePicks. Against Milwaukee in this series, he's only gone over 6 assists in one game. So he's now just 1 for 4, 25% hit rate at 7 assists or better. So again, I'd probably lean toward the under on Marcus Smart here. Maybe he ends up with 6. Maybe you're finding yourself in a tie. But the projections for him, 7.4. At 6.5, the public is smashing the under, minus 155. So that's why we're getting him at 6 instead of 6.5. Looks like a lot of juice coming in on the under. Yeah, we'll get to rebounds right after we're done talking assists. We're basically just going right down the board here, gang. Points, assists, rebounds, PRA. So we're just going in order of the PrizePicks board. That's just how I kind of structured things. So I know you guys are asking about PRA and fantasy and all this other stuff. We'll get there. We're just not there yet. But hang tight. Hang tight. We'll get there. So yeah, Smart for me would be an underplay. And then quickly we'll look at Jaylen Brown at 4. Just to see kind of what he's been up to throughout the course of this series so far. So we bump him down to 4, and you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games played now. He's hit 4 or more in 4 out of 5. So while his potential assists aren't great, I mean, he does have some games in there where he's gone for 6. He's gone for 4 or better in 4 out of 5 games. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you lean toward the over on Jaylen Brown or just fade it altogether. He's projected for 4.3. He's at 4.5, kind of like Marcus Smart. The public just smashing the under on 4.5, minus 165 to stay under 4.5. You want to check out Derek White for 2.5 assists. He is averaging about 4.8 potentials per game. So let's round it up. Let's call it 5 potential assists per game. So he'd have to go basically 3 of 5. So he'd have to have a really good game. Well, he wouldn't have to have a really good game. His teammates would have to have a really good game in terms of making the shots off of his passes. I don't have anything else to give you, though, for Derek White. No projection available. So, yeah, I mean, Derek White at 2.5 assists. I guess he's hit more often than not. So if you want to take a shot on him, go for it. Probably feel better about taking a shot on the over for Jaylen Brown or the under on Marcus Smart. But if Derek White plays more minutes and Grant Williams kind of sees his minutes scale back a little bit, then, you know, maybe Derek White's got a chance. So there you go. All right. Anybody from the Milwaukee side of things? I mean, we could quickly look at the potential assists for the Milwaukee Bucks here. Let's clear these out. We'll go Milwaukee versus Boston and just kind of take a look at some of that. I told you guys before that Giannis is absolutely leading the team in potential assists at 12 per game. So 5 games played against Boston. He's averaging 12 potentials per game. In order for him to hit the over on 6 assists, he'd have to go basically 7 for 12. 7 out of his 12 would have to convert. Right behind him is Drew Holiday. Drew's actually averaging about 1.5 less potential assists per game, but also has a higher assist prop line of 6.5. So I'd feel better about taking the over on Giannis than I would Drew, being that Giannis is getting more potential assists per game and has the lower prop line. So I think Giannis would be my favorite out of the two of these guys. So taking a look at Giannis real quick, you know, it's kind of the same situation with Jason Tatum. He's leading the team in potential assists, but over the last couple of games, we've seen his assists actually go under for a couple of games now. But game 1, he had 12. Game 2 and 3, 7 and 8. Giannis has been doing more scoring and less assisting, basically, over the last couple of games here. But with him getting 12 potentials per game, I think there's always a shot for him to go over or at least tie on 6 assists. His projection today is 7.2 at 6.5. The public is smashing the under like they are for Jaylen Brown, like they are for Marcus Smart, smashing the under on his 6.5 assist prop. Minus 145, minus 150. So you're getting him at 6 here today. You're liking Drew Holiday to go over, despite the fact that He's getting just about 10.5 potential assists, and he'd have to go basically 7 for 10, 7 for 11, something around those. You think that he makes for a good overplay? Okay. I think assists just suck in general. As a prop, my favorite props are probably points props because there's less that can go wrong there. It's just the player and the ball against the defense, right? You don't have to depend on another player to make a shot like you do with the assists. But, you know, you guys are liking Jrue Holiday because you've seen now in 5 games he's gone over. He's had 7, 9, and 8. He's gone over in back-to-back games. So I get it. I definitely get it. Giannis is doing less assisting. Jrue Holiday's assists are up. So I can understand why you would want to take the over on Jrue Holiday here. But you know what I've noticed throughout these NBA playoffs, just when you think you got it all figured out, just when you start to get comfortable, Max Strus under on points being a prime example, right? Al Horford over on points being a prime example. Just when you think you got it all figured out, Jrue Holiday potentially over on 6.5 assists, something crazy happens, right? That's why I've scaled back playing some NBA playoff props, because you just never know what you're going to get. Expect the unexpected. Now, the betting public is loving the over on Jrue Holiday at 6.5 dimes, minus 155 betting favorite to go over. So I would not be surprised if this prop ends up getting bumped up to 7 on PrizePicks at some point. Being that the sports books are taking so much action on the over at 6.5, wouldn't be surprised if it gets bumped up to 7 at some point. His projection today, 8.4. So that's nearly 2 more assists than his prop line of 6.5. I think if they bump it up to 7, I might take a shot on the under just to be crazy like that. Just to be wild. I might take the under at 7 assists if it gets bumped up. But Roy, you're liking the over on Jrue Holiday? I might just fade it. Michael says, I appreciate it and your content so far. Well, Michael, we try to dig in, man. We try to dig in. We try to show you kind of some of the thought process, some of what goes on, you know, in the research to hopefully lead you to more wins. Not just throwing you a pick without much context or data or information behind it, kind of showing you maybe some things to look at, some things to consider when doing your own player prop research. So, what about from the later game? We got Desmond Bane out there at 3. We talked about Curry going under assists being a move, and that did end up working out in the last game. He had just 4 assists in the last game against Memphis. Got Tyus Jones out there. He dropped 9 dimes. Pretty impressive game from him. We know Draymond Green is leading the Golden State Warriors in potential assists per game. I believe Jordan Poole is like right behind him in potential assists. But Draymond, kind of the quarterback of the Golden State Warriors, right? So we could take a look at the dubs real quick. Seeing who's leading the way in potential assists, right? We go to the Golden State Warriors. We look at the opponent. In this case, Memphis. We click run it. By the way, this is all free. NBA.com. You can go and do this yourself and look into these potential assist numbers anytime you feel like it. But through 5 games, Draymond Green against the Memphis Grizzlies, 12.6 potential assists per game. So he is undoubtedly leading the Golden State Warriors in potential assists. Like I said, the quarterback, right? We see him all the time with the ball in his hands. You see all the guys pretty much just in motion, running around out there, coming off screens. Draymond Green's got the ball usually at the top of the key, looking to facilitate, looking to find the open man. So he's at almost 13 potential assists. He needs to make 7 out of 13. His teammates need to make 7 shots on his 13 or so potential assists per game. So he's definitely leading the way. I like Jordan Poole here too at 4.5. He's averaging 9.8 potential assists. So we bump that up. We call it 10 potential assists. If he goes 50%, 5 for 10, then I like that. Now Curry's sitting out there at 6 assists, but he's only averaging 8.4 potential. So for him to hit the over on 6 assists, This guy's literally going to have to go 7 for 8, which is asking a lot. So I still like the under on Steph Curry at 6 assists. Unless you think Curry on his 8 potential assists will go 7 for 8. I mean, that's asking a lot, man. I think that's asking too much. Things would have to go really good for Curry. Would have to go pretty perfect for him on 8.4 potential assists to convert on 7. So for me, I still think Curry under 6 assists would be the move for moi, for yours truly. Taking a look at the numbers for Steph Curry in this playoff series, we bump him down to 6. He's now played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games against Memphis, right? He's gone for just 8 and 8 in 2 games. So he's only gone over 6 assists in 2 out of 5. So again, more often than not, he is staying at 6 or below. So for me, I think I would take the under. Just based on the information we have here, right? Just based on the data, the info. Curry is projected for 7.1, 6.5. The betting public taking the under, minus 140. And I think they're doing the right thing by taking the under at 6.5. Like I said, I'm still in there for the under at 6. So some of you guys asked about Draymond Green. Again, he is at 6.5. Let's just take a look at a projection for him. Projecting for 8.2. The betting public loving Draymond Green tonight. Playing at home in Golden State. They think he goes for at least 7 assists. And due to the fact that he's leading the team in potentials, I could see a situation where Draymond Green absolutely converts on 7 dimes tonight. I could see that. Playing at home, guys usually shoot better at home. So I could get down with Draymond Green over 6.5 assists. My filler Art coming through with the super chat. Appreciate the super chat, man. He says he came in late. What do you guys think? Drew over rebounds, Lopez over rebounds, Pat Connaughton over on points. Well, we did talk about playoff P, Pat Connaughton. I like him over on points for sure. Definitely going to have some Pat Connaughton over 10.5 points in my entries tonight. We have not talked about any rebounds, but that is a great segue for us to move over to the rebound category and start digging into some rebound props. Again, we're using props.cash to help with our research here. If you want to save 25% off on your first ever month of props.cash, I've left a link down in the description below. Use code Curry to save 25% off your first month of props.cash. Anyway, looking at the rebound props from this first game, the early game tonight, leading the way is Drew Holiday at 5.5 boards, 70% hit rate throughout the playoffs for Drew Holiday. We're actually getting him at 5 today. So that's one of the picks that my filler arc is liking. Julian's in agreement. He thinks Drew over rebounds is cash money. Bobby Portis at 8.5 rebounds, 60% hit rate in the playoffs for him. Brook Lopez, we're getting him at 5.5 today. He was at 6 in previous games. So back down to 5.5, 50% hit rate for Brolo. Al Horford sitting at 8.5. He was at 9 last game. He's got a 44% hit rate. Jaylen Brown at 44%. Pat Connaughton, I liked his rebounds last game. He did end up falling short, but I think he could be in a potential bounce back spot too. So you could go Pat Connaughton if you'd like. Grayson Allen, Giannis, 40% for each of those guys. Marcus Smart, 37.5%. And we've seen Jason Tatum in the playoffs hit 7 or more rebounds in just 11% of his games. So maybe Jason Tatum makes for an underplay tonight. But let's start by looking at my filler arcs super chat. His question, his suggestion or recommendation was Drew Holiday over on rebounds. So Holiday sitting out there at 5. We talked about him at 5.5, 70% hit rate in the playoffs. So let's take a look at him at 5 rebounds. We're getting a half a rebound discount. Is that what I'm seeing here? So we bump him down to 5. And I mean, you take a look at what he's done in the playoffs. He's only gone under 5 rebounds in 2 games. 2 out of 10 games. So he's really 8 for 10 at 5 rebounds or more. 7 for 10 at 6 rebounds or more. So Drew Holiday, rebound prop, looking pretty good here. In the series against Boston, he's now gone for more than 5 rebounds in 4 out of 5, or 80% hit rate versus Boston, averaging 7 boards per game. He's at 5, but is averaging 7 boards per game. And he's had 7 and 7 in both home games in this series as well. So he's actually 100% on 5 rebounds at home. Taking a look at Drew Holiday here. Drew is projected for 5.7 rebounds. That's more than 5. But at 5.5, the betting public, again, smashing the under at 5.5. So we're getting him at 5. So yeah, I would say take the over on Drew Holiday at 5 rebounds. I'm not really sure why the betting public betting the under at 5.5. I don't quite understand or get it. Who knows? You know, we've got a bunch of crazy characters out there betting on player props. So yeah, my filler arc, I think Drew Holiday over 5 rebounds is fine. I think that one's fine. Now you asked also about his teammate, Brook Lopez, at 5.5 rebounds. So let's look at Lopez real quick. Brook Lopez, 5.5 boards, 5 for 10 throughout the playoffs. But in this series, he actually had a 4-game hit streak, 10, 6, 10, and 7. But then he falls short in Game 5. Let's take a look at his minutes. Yep, they were down. He only played 20 minutes in Game 5, which was about 8 or 9 minutes less than the previous games, right? So wasn't playing as many minutes. Therefore, he didn't have as many opportunities to rebound the basketball. So hopefully those minutes come back up to, 28, 29, 25 or more would be sweet. He, just like his teammate, Drew Holiday, at home in this series has gone 2 for 2, 10 rebounds and 7 rebounds. So I could see him in a little bit of a bounce back situation tonight, going back to Milwaukee. I don't mind Brook Lopez. Lopez projecting for 5.3 boards at 5.5. The public taking the under again, man. There's a lot of unders being taken today. Have you guys noticed that? Under on Jaylen Brown's assists, under on Marcus Smart's assists, under on Brook Lopez's rebounds, under on Drew Holiday's rebounds. I mean, a lot of pessimism tonight. A lot of unders being taken by the betting public. So, yeah. Yeah, Karma Picks. We did not talk about Drew Holiday points for good reason. I don't trust the guy as far as I can throw him when it comes to his points props. So if you want to take the under, I ain't going to talk you out of it. I ain't going to talk you out of that at all. The Gone Network says, I like how in-depth you go on each pick. I really appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you liking what I'm doing. Hopefully you've hit the like button and have subscribed to the channel. Always looking for more subscribers. Appreciate you. Speaking of subscribers, I see that Eugene Nolan has subscribed to the channel. Shout out to Eugene. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. And then the final pick you asked about is Al Horford over fantasy. We'll get to that one in just a minute, but let's finish up with these rebounds. Anybody else from Boston that we're liking? We talked about Jason Tatum's poor hit rate throughout the playoffs at 6.5 boards. So maybe we take an under on Jason Tatum for rebounds. I mean, when we open up Jason Tatum's game logs here, gang, 1 for 9, 11% hit rate in the playoffs. In this series against Milwaukee, 1 for 5. That's not good. Jason Tatum is not hitting his rebound props throughout the playoffs at 6.5. Are you looking to take the under perhaps on Jason Tatum? And he had 13 at Milwaukee in Game 4. Otherwise, we've seen him at a low of 1, even 3, 6 in some of these other games. But yeah, maybe you take the under on Jason Tatum at 6.5 boards, being that he's got just an 11% hit rate, right? Looking at a projection for Tatum, they do have him projected for nearly 9 rebounds. Now, make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. We've got a guy that's 1 for 9 in the playoffs at going over 6.5 rebounds. He's 1 for 5 in this series, but yet The betting public taking the over on Jason Tatum. They think he's going to find 7 boards for just the second time in 9 playoff games. I don't know, man. I don't know why people bet the way that they do. There must be something out there that they like about Jason Tatum going for 7 boards. Anyways, I think the stars of the show, or at least from this game, are going to be Drew Holiday over 5 boards. Brook Lopez probably behind him, but over at 5.5. We got the locks. I got the locks too. You may have heard of them. Jada Kiss, Styles P, and Chic Luch. One of the best hip-hop groups of all time. We got the locks. We've always had the locks. You just didn't know it. What about this late night game, guys? What are we liking there? Hit rates between Memphis and Golden State. Got Andrew Wiggins, man. He's been cleaning the glass lately. Cleaning the glass at 5.5 rebounds. He's got a 70% hit rate throughout the playoffs. So 7 out of 10. That's pretty darn good. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 6.5 boards. About a 55% hit rate, but he's up at 7 boards today on PrizePicks. So paying a little bit more for Jaren Jackson Jr. Are we liking any of these other guys? I mean, you're talking about Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks at 45% or below. Tyus Jones, Steven Adams, 33%. Draymond, Clay, Steph, not really covering their rebound props. I saw somebody mention Steph Curry under 5.5 rebounds. We're getting him at 5 rebounds on PrizePicks. Let's look at him real quick. Curry sitting out there at 5. We've seen Curry only go over 5 rebounds twice through 10 playoff games. So that's not a very good hit rate. Right? He's only covered rebounds twice. In this series against Memphis, he's only covered 5 rebounds or gone over 5 rebounds once out of 5 games. So if you wanted to take the under on Curry, I could absolutely get on board with that. His projected rebounds today, 5.5. The betting public, again, smashing the under. A lot of unders being bet tonight on both of these games on a variety of different props, but Steph Curry under 5.5 points, minus 140 betting favorite, or rebounds. Steph Curry under 5.5 rebounds, minus 140 betting favorite. So maybe you take the under. Worst case, you end up in a tie or a push, but I think Curry under rebounds is a good look. Julian, you're liking Wiggins over rebounds. Let's take a look at him. Of course, we know Wiggins' minutes in the last game were absolutely cut short, which led to a pretty poor rebound output for my man Andrew Wiggins. Against Memphis now, he's recorded 8, 9, 3, came back with a huge 10, and then, of course, the minutes were down in the last game like we talked about, so he did not get there. Now, I'll tell you this. If Wiggins is going to play 30-plus minutes, he's going to hit the over on 5.5 rebounds. So that's kind of what you're banking on, because the games where he's played 25 or less minutes, those were the games, the only 2 games in which he's went under 5.5 rebounds. So if Wiggins is out there running around for 30-plus minutes, 35-plus minutes, then he should be in shape, good shape, to hit the over on his rebounds. If you look at what happened in Game 3, he was in foul trouble, which really cut into his minutes. He ended up with just 3 rebounds in that game, had 5 personal fouls. And then, of course, we know Golden State was pretty much getting blown out in that last game. So that's the reason why his minutes were down. So I like going back to Wiggins. Again, pending he gets 30, 35 or more minutes. I think that's a good look. When the minutes are there, the rebounds are there, straight up. It's got to be out there on the court in order to rebound, right? Andrew Wiggins is projecting for 5 boards, but at 5.5 boards, the public is finally smashing the over on a prop. They think Wiggins goes for 6 rebounds or better. So I like that. I do like Wiggins over 5.5 boards. Otherwise, I don't know that any other rebound props are standing out to me. So I like Curry under 5 rebounds. I don't mind that one. Poor hit rates for him. Andrew Wiggins, I don't mind going back to him. As long as he's getting 30 plus minutes, he'll be out there on the glass. The Gone Network is liking Wiggins rebounds for sure. For sure. Okay. All right, let's move on then. Any PRA plays that you dudes are liking? Or dudettes? Giannis has been crushing his PRA in the last 3 games. I think Giannis is going to be a good look. What other PRA plays? Pat Connaughton might have a shot. He might have a shot. I think I like Connaughton's points and 3-point makes the best. Somebody was asking about Tyus Jones PRA. We'll get to Tyus in just a minute. But what about this first game? Anybody from this first game that's really standing out? Let's look at the trends here provided by props.cash. We'll go to PRA for this game. At 24.5, Horford, 55% hit rate. You got Brolo at 16.5, 50% hit rate. Grayson Allen at 12.5, 50%. Giannis, 53.5. He's got 50% hit rate, but we're getting him at 52.5. Tatum, 40.5 on PrizePicks, 41.5 on props.cash, 44% hit rate. And then the rest of these guys are pretty much down there, but Mr. Ruiz is saying we're going back to Big Al. 24.5 PRA. Let's look at Al Horford here. Horford kind of came back down to earth in the last game. We call this guy Alfred, with Tatum being Batman, Brown being Robin. And you got Alfred right here, the old butler, right? We take a look at Al Horford at 24.5 PRA. He hit in games 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then he fell just a little bit short in game 5 with 22. Now, the big reason why he didn't hit his PRA is that his field goal attempts were way down. He did not shoot the ball nearly as much as he had in previous games. So that's going to be the number one reason why Al Horford doesn't hit tonight. If he's not shooting and making his shots, then the PRA will simply just not be there. But I can dig Al Horford at 24.5 PRA. I could dig him going over in a little bit of a bounce back spot, right? As long as the shot attempts are up and the shots are falling for him, I think he'll have a very realistic chance. He's projected for 27.5. That's 3 PRA higher. And then at 24.5, he's a betting favorite to go over. So you could go Al Horford for PRA. What about his fantasy score? Boom. His fantasy score hasn't missed yet. So maybe he's a better fantasy score option than a PRA option. He's hit the fantasy score in 5 straight games, every game in this series. So probably would ride with the fantasy score, being that he has not missed that one yet. Mr. Ruiz says, hit that like button, gang. Appreciate you for reminding the folks. The prop plug says, I suggested Tyus PRAs last game, and Mr. Curry wasn't with it. You remember what I said when we were talking about Tyus Jones? Can we get more Tyus? Can we get more Tyus? Is that what you want? Prop plug, you want to get more Tyus? Let's get more Tyus then. Can we get more Tyus? My bad. Can't go that high. 27.5 for Tyus Jones. 27.5 points plus rebounds plus assists for Tyus Jones. That's more like it. The prop plug says you should take this. So when it doesn't hit, you line up outside of his house with pitchforks and torches. And you riot. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. But Tyus Jones, throughout this series now, he's hit in the last 2 games at 27.5 PRA. So I'm going to ask you again, can we get more Tyus? Last 2 games have been really good. 30 and 33 PRA. Go for it, man. Just go for it, bro. If you want more Tyus, you can have it, bro. It's right here. It's waiting for you, dude. He's at 27.5 PRA, projected for 28.7. Listen, the sports books have him at 26.5. At least a couple of them do. He's a minus 130, minus 120 to go over. The books that do have him at 27.5, we're seeing some early indicators that they don't like him to go for 28 PRA tonight. Do we think the blowout's going to be a factor for Tyus Jones? Maybe it will be, bro. We don't know anything. But yeah, they're betting the under at 27.5 PRA. They're betting the over at 26.5 PRA. It's the prop plug pick of the day. Tyus Jones over 27.5 PRA. Take it or get left in the dust. There you go. That's for you, prop plug. Go for it, bro. It's right there waiting. Pull up to St. Petersburg, home of Rod Wave. Shout out to Rod Wave. He's in jail. Beat up his girlfriend. Choked her out. Got Rod Wave out here, of all people, strangling folks. Sweet Rod Wave. Poor guy. You know he's like 5'7", 350 pounds? Man's built like a smart car. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was 5'7", 350 pounds. I knew he was a big fella. I mean, I'm a big fella, but I'm 6'4". He's 5'7". But yeah, shout out to Rod Wave. Good musician from St. Petersburg. The Berg. So yeah, prop plugs liking some Tyus Jones here at 27.5 PRA. Take the over, right? Prop plug wants to take the over. Anybody else for PRA plays that you guys are wanting to mess with tonight? Listen, Desmond Bane under 25.5 PRA up until the last game was smacking. It was smacking. He finally came to life, right? But let's look at his game logs real quick. At 25.5 PRA, he was at 23.5, I want to say, last game. But at 25.5 PRA, he is now 0 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 for 5 against Golden State at 25.5 PRA. So I don't mind you smashing the under on Desmond Bane, especially if this game ends up blowing out. Maybe they go and sit Bane on the pine. But yeah, 0 for 5 at 25.5 PRA. So I don't like Desmond Bane to go over tonight, of course. Not when you're 0 for 5. Why would I take the over if you're 0 for 5? Desmond Bane, not built like a smart car. He's built like a brick shit house. He's a short, stout, stocky young man, Desmond Bane. Right? Looks like a little fullback out there. Middle linebacker. Built like Derek Fisher. You know, I'm not sure that Derek Fisher's not his father. Maybe they're related. You got that Derek Fisher build. But Desmond Bane at 25.5 PRA is a betting favorite to go over right now. Minus 125. Why on the... Excuse me. Let me reel that back in. Why would people be betting the over at 25.5 PRA when this man has yet to hit the over in any game against Golden State? Yeah, you're talking about the new Mike Bibby, though. The old Mike Bibby wasn't built like that. The new Mike Bibby, if you squint, he looks like Vin Diesel or somebody. New Mike Bibby's crazy. That man's yoked up. All right, fantasy score, there was another pick. There was another pick that my filler arc was talking about, and he was liking some Al Horford on fantasy points. I think we already talked about it. Horford's hit the fantasy score in 5 straight games. So if you want to take Al Horford over on fantasy points, well, doggone it, I'm not going to be the one to stop you. Horford's projection today for fantasy score, I got him at 37.68. And he's got a fantasy score rating of 84.8. So that's a pretty high number out of 100 potential rating. So 37.6 fantasy score. That's more than 34. The guy's 5 for 5. So fire him up. Fire him up. Bradley Beamer says Jordan Poole or Clay for turnovers. Well, we're going to definitely talk about those turnovers. You just hold your horses there, my friend. We're going to get there, though. Other fantasy score plays worth considering. I mean, my man Playoff P, Pat Connaughton, 3 straight games now. Since he's been seeing 30-plus minutes, he's hit his fantasy score in every game. So I like Pat Connaughton for fantasy score. He's projected for a healthy 23.7 fantasy points today. That's 5.7 fantasy points higher. So Pat Connaughton over fantasy score could be a move. Poppin' P. That's right. Push P. Push P on Pat Connaughton for points, fantasy score, 3-point makes if we get it. I think those all look pretty good. Those all look like pretty good moves. Jaren Jackson Jr., when he's racking up the blocks, he's going to be racking up some fantasy points for you as well. I think he's in a pretty good spot. We've seen him hit in 3 out of 5 games. So if you wanted to go Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., I got a solid little 38.7 projected fantasy score for him. That's 4.8 fantasy score higher than the 34. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, I think those are the moves, right? Al Horford over fantasy looking sweet. Maybe Triple J over 34 fantasy looking sweet. Now we talked Tyus Jones for PRA, but the fantasy score for Tyus also has been hitting. Can we get more Tyus? If you want more Tyus, right here, baby. Fantasy score. Line it up. Line it up. All right, 3-point makes. Boston, Milwaukee. Who we liking from this one, man? I can't say that a lot of these 3-point props really have my attention, but maybe Al Horford, if you think he finally gets that 3-ball popping again like he did in the previous couple of games. He didn't have it going in the last game. Didn't make a single 3 after shooting the lights out in a couple of the other games. Kind of saw that one coming, though. The amount of 3s that he was taking and making just wasn't going to be sustainable. But you might want to go back to him tonight. You might want to go back to him. This guy, I've been waiting on him. I've been waiting on him for 3 straight games to finally show up. I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was finally going to do it in game 4. Ended up with just 3 3-point makes. I'm off the Jason Tatum 3-point make train. I can't trust him. Can't go there. Can't do it to myself anymore. No longer. Drew Holiday, not really a guy I'm trusting for 3-point makes. Maybe Grayson Allen. He's just not shooting the ball quite enough for me to feel good about about that. So, locks over likes. Shit. Locks over likes is in the building, y'all. Locks over likes is in the building. He's telling me, check Drew Holiday. I don't want to. I don't like Drew Holiday for any of his scoring props, points, or 3-point makes. I can't trust him. Let's get a projection, though. How about that? We'll just kind of get a little projection out there for Drew Holiday. Projected for 2.4 at 2.5 3-point makes, minus 190. They really don't think he's going to make 3 threes tonight. Minus 190 to stay under 2.5 threes. Well, there ain't no way I'm taking him. Can't do it. Can't do it. I will stay away from Drew Holiday, my friend. I will fade him. But you can take him if you want. He made 4 in the last game, right? There's a chance. There's always a chance. What about this next game? We got Bane. He's a pretty decent little three-point shooter. Steph Curry, of course. We know what he can do from beyond the arc. Not a lot of guys hitting at a high percentage on their three-point props, though. Desmond Bane at 3.5, just 45%. Steph Curry at 3.5, just 40% through the playoffs. Klay, 3.5, 40% for him. So yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard to trust any of these guys. 3-point makes is for gamblers, degenerate gamblers, right? Degenerate gamblers especially. You're right about that, my friend. You are right about that. Probably not a lot I'm liking here for 3-point makes, truthfully. I mean, you look at some of the hit rates on these guys from this series, and it's... ugh. Jaren Jackson Jr.? Maybe. I mean, he's hit 2 or more in 4 out of 5 games. I mean, it's just purely based on hit rates. He's looking like maybe the creme de la creme. The best of the best, possibly. Now, he's projecting for 1.9 3-point makes. At 2.5, big betting favorite, minus 170, under 2.5 points. 3-point makes, sorry. So, yeah, we don't have Andrew Wiggins up on the board just yet, but I'll just pull a prop projection. He's at 2.2. 2.2. At 1.5, they're betting the under on Wiggins, though. I think I like Wiggins rebounds. I do see Wiggins bouncing back tonight. As long as he's getting that 30-plus minute run. So, anyway, the rest of these guys, what are we thinking here? We got Jason Tatum for free throw makes. Giannis for free throw makes. We got Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Desmond Bane, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jaren Jackson. Curry did have 14 and 8, but then plummets in a blowout down to 3. Do we think Klay Thompson gets to the free throw line once? And if he does, do we like him to go 2 for 2 from the free throw line? Man, 1.5. You would think that there's a chance, a way that Klay Thompson finds himself getting to the line, shooting 2 free throws, and he knocks both down, right? Whew. Could be a sweat, but that one's kind of interesting, right? Trey Prince, I think all of the MLB strikeout lines have probably moved by now, man. We get on those the night before in our Patreon community and throw those out there. And then by the time I wake up, all the strikeout lines have typically already moved after I throw out sort of the early look plays for MLB strikeouts and fantasy score and all that. PrizePicks, they don't sleep. They never rest, man. They're always bumping stuff up and down. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 4 or more free throw makes. He's now 4 for 5 in this series, so that's not a bad one. That could be a good little look. I don't trust Desmond Bane. Not going to go there. Jason Tatum had a good one last game. I don't know if he repeats that. Giannis has been getting to the line, but Giannis hasn't been making the most of his opportunities. So for that reason, I got to fade. Jaylen Brown, though, 3 straight games now, he's gone over 4 free throw makes. So it's looking kind of promising. Blocks and steals. Got the defensive player of the year right here, Marcus Smart, at 1.5 blocks and steals. Yes, my filler arc. I like Horford over fantasy score. He's projected to go over. We know he's 5 for 5. So let's fire up Al Horford over fantasy score one more again. But yeah, Marcus Smart, 3 out of his last 4 games, he has hit the over at 1.5 blocks and steals. So Mr. Defensive Player of the Year, that could be a good look. Klay Thompson usually does a pretty good job with some blocks and steals. Pretty good little defensive player, right? 3 out of his last 5. You could go there. JB, nah. It could happen, but, you know, he's went under in his last 3 games. You know, to be honest, I don't play a lot of these blocks and steals props. What about just purely blocks? Tatum, 3 for 5. Grant Williams, 2 for 5. Probably not going to go there either. Steals, do we think Derek White finds a steal? I don't know. Yeah, stay away from the blocks and the steals. Now, the turnovers, on the other hand. There's been some good moves here lately on these turnover props. Draymond Green. We talked about him being the QB, right? The quarterback of the team for the Golden State Warriors, meaning he's going to have the basketball in his hands quite a bit, directing traffic out there, throwing the basketball around. And we could see here, more often than not in this series against Memphis, my man turns the ball over. 80% hit rate for Draymond Green, over 3 turnovers. He's going to be one that should be at the top of your list. I like that. I see Purdle Martin. Marcus Smart turnovers. We're liking that one? Whew. Okay. Smart's now had 3 or more turnovers in 4 straight games. Every game in this series, he's turned the ball over 3 times. Moody Clips, I'm not fading Bane PRA. I'm taking the under. The under on Desmond Bane's PRA. He has not went over 25.5 PRA in any game in this series against the Golden State Warriors. So, yes, Smart over turnovers looks good. Draymond over turnovers looks good. What about Giannis? Giannis has the ball in his hands a lot. I mean, he has had some games where, the turnovers are up there. Some of these other guys, I don't know. Playoff P, Mr. Pat Connaughton. Gonna stay away from that one. Desmond Bane, not really turning the ball over all that much. Okay, Desmond, I see you. Steph Curry, nah, not gonna do it. Jordan Poole, okay, maybe you got something here with Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole has gone over 2.5 turnovers in 4 out of 5, 80% hit rate. So if you want to go there with Jordan Poole. I said I'm taking the under Moody Clips. The guy is 0 for 5 against Golden State. Drew PRA? No, we didn't talk about Drew Holiday for PRA. What do you want to do with it, though? It's a lot of red and green in there. You want to go over or under on Drew for PRA? What about his fantasy score? Fantasy score is hitting at 42. If you want to take an over on Drew Holiday, I'd probably say fantasy score. Projected for a 45.7. Miss Danica, if you want to take an over on Drew Holiday, it looks like the fantasy score is the better way to go with the 4 for 5 versus the 3 for 5 on PRA. And he's projected to go over, so you got that working for you too. So check that out. Check out Drew for fantasy score instead of PRA. Got a nice little rating, 77.4 out of 100, projecting to go over. So, yeah, I think that's a good look. But I think that's it, gang. We have covered the entire board, both of the games tonight. Like I said before, inside of my Discord server, which you can find a link to down in the description of today's video, we're going to be giving away some free entries on PrizePicks. These are risk-free 2-pick power plays to win yourself $100. Basically, you pick 2 players. If you get them both right, you win $100. So I'll be starting that giveaway in just a little bit. All you have to do is be inside Discord, wait for the announcement. You go over to the giveaways channel, you hit the little party hat emoji, and boom, you're entered in. We got bots that randomly select the winners, so you ain't got to worry about any of that stuff, all right? You just hit the little emoji, boom, you're entered in, and then winners will be selected randomly by our Discord bots. We've also got a number of other Discord bots in there, bots that'll help you with your player prop research. We've got insights provided by Fanshore being pumped in for NBA, for MLB, and eventually for NFL. We've got props.cash bots where you can check hit rates and things like that for various sports, NHL, NBA, MLB going on with the props.cash bots. I mean, we got all kind of stuff, man, going on in the Discord. Bunch of free stuff, giveaways, bots. Join. It's free. And if you want to support me and my content, you can join Patreon to step your game up, to take the experience to the next level. Join a community of like-minded individuals who are rolling up their sleeves, doing some player prop research, sharing their info, sharing their findings on a daily basis, just trying to help one another get to the bag, all right? Links to everything down in the description below. We'll see you for free entry Friday inside Discord. Good luck to everybody who enters in. I hope you all win. You can't all win, but I hope all of you win. All right? Till next time. Peace.